The following was a blog post by John Goodman, posted on the 17th of August 2011. Included with it was a download link to 1Dollar.wav. The file in question has been converted to MP4 format so that it may be uploaded to YouTube. Goodman mentioned in the post that he would be doing extensive research on the mysteries surrounding this file. If he reports anything back, it'll be uploaded here. Post 1.
After my computer got burnt to a crisp in a lightning storm, I was left with only my old one. Fortunately, I had everything from my destroyed computer already backed up onto USB drives and CD-ROMs. My old computer was running on Windows 98 and desperately needed an OS upgrade. It was time to search online for a new OS install disk that would go for an affordable price. You might ask, why not just get a new computer? Well, I would have, but because of the shitty economy, I didn't have the money to do so. So, my only other option was to upgrade the old one. Anyway, I searched around eBay to see if anyone was selling a copy of Windows XP at an affordable price. There was no way my computer would be able to handle Windows Vista or 7, so I had to go with XP. Lo and behold, somebody was selling a full Windows XP clean install disk for only $1.95. Nobody else was bidding on it, so I placed mine. Even after I had bidded, nobody else did. Needless to say, I won the disk, with nobody else to challenge me. A few days later, I received the disk in a white envelope. I opened the envelope and pulled out the disk, and it looked just like any other Windows XP bootable disk. I turned on my old computer and popped it in. I then proceeded to install Windows XP as one normally would. While I was waiting, I popped some popcorn, took a dump, and watched some TV, occasionally checking the progress of the installation and responding to dialog boxes, entering the registration code, etc. Finally, it finished installing, and I could finally use my old computer. The first thing I did was transfer everything I had backed up from my destroyed one to the new one. Well, old one. CD after CD, USB drive after USB drive, and finally, I got everything onto my computer the way I wanted it. I decided to randomly browse around it a little bit before I turned it off and got ready to go to bed. The random browsing led me to the Windows/Media folder. I had noticed a file in there called 1Dollar.wav. I never put the file on the computer, so I assumed it was installed along with all the other files in the folder, but I realized I never remembered any such file being included with a copy of XP. Curious, I double-clicked the file to open it. It was a very peculiar file. All I heard when I opened it was just some bizarre static noise, almost as if it was some extremely distorted song. The file was just 4 solid minutes of this weird sound. It kinda creeped me out. I mean, it was nighttime, with my sleeping dog being my only company, and I find a file on my computer that I never put there and wasn't part of the original XP installation. And all it is 4 minutes of some fucked up noise. Furthermore, it's in a system folder. Thinking it might be a virus of some sort, I scanned the file. Lo and behold, one Trojan horse came up. I had no clue where I could have gotten it from. I mean, I'd barely been on the internet at all since XP was fully installed. Suddenly I realized I'd seen a file with this name for a split second on the screen as the disk installed all the system files. I could only come to one conclusion. The disk had been tampered with. I decided to delete the Trojan, delete 1Dollar.wav, and do a full system scan of both my antivirus programs. It was going to take a crap load of time to finish scanning, so I decided to go to bed while I waited. I still felt a bit mad that I went through all the time to finally get my computer set up and upgraded the way I wanted it, only to find out the install disk had been tampered with. I woke up the next morning, ate my breakfast, took a shower, brushed my teeth, and went into the computer room. I sat down at my PC and turned on the monitor. I couldn't believe what I saw. My desktop background had been changed to a picture of a dollar bill. There were 2 errors saying that my 2 antiviruses had crashed, along with a bunch of other blank error dialogues that were all titled 1Dollar.wav. Every icon on my desktop had been replaced with a shortcut to 1Dollar.wav, even the recycle bin. My start button now said 1Dollar.wav, and the usual flag was replaced with a $sign. When I clicked the start menu, or in this case the 1Dollar.wav menu, to bring up the 1Dollar.wav menu, every icon there was also replaced with 1Dollar.wav. The administrator name was changed to 1Dollar.wav. The account picture was that of a dollar bill. I clicked Don't Send Report to both the errors saying Malwarebytes and Microsoft Security Essentials had crashed. I then clicked the OK button on each 1Dollar.wav error box. Okay, finally the screen was cleared of all those windows. I tried to reopen my antivirus programs, but they both gave me a blank error titled 1Dollar.wav. I clicked OK on those. I went to the 1Dollar.wav menu and clicked Shutdown, but I got the familiar error sound. When I tried the power button, nothing happened. Finally, feeling pissed off, I just unplugged the computer and it turned off. I plugged it back in, booted it in safe mode, and tried opening the antivirus programs there, but when I did, my computer made the weirdest noise I've ever heard and abruptly shut off. I tried pressing the power button, but nothing happened. It didn't even whir up. That freaking virus completely destroyed my only remaining computer, and I hadn't even gotten it from a website or anything. It came with the operating system. Well, that was that. I had to go get some things at the grocery store, so I left the house. I have yet to earn enough money to buy myself a new computer. I do everything computer related on a friend's laptop that he generously lets me borrow when I have to check my email, do something on my bank account online, etc. I used that same laptop to type up and publish this story to the internet, along with 1Dollar.wav, which I have gone through and manually removed the malicious coding from. After a certain cryptic message I read talking about some last evidence that will have to be destroyed if I share it with anybody, which you will read about in just a moment, I have decided to research as thoroughly as I can this 1Dollar.wav until I figured out whatever mystery surrounds it. How did I get back to 1Dollar.wav after my computer was destroyed, you ask? Well, when I got home, my dog's ears perked up and she began growling menacingly. She started following a scent into my computer room, and everything seemed normal. However, when I looked where my second destroyed computer was, it wasn't there. Everything else was still there, but my computer was gone. I thought it might have been a robbery, but who would want an old computer that didn't even boot up anymore? I also noticed the tampered with XP install disk I had gotten off eBay was missing as well. In its place was a different disk. This disk was a white CD-ROM with something written on it in green Sharpie. I picked up the disk and it read, "This is the last remaining evidence that I know of. Keep it secret or I'll have to destroy it too." I glanced down at the table the disk had been sitting on. Where it had been was a single dollar bill. It wasn't crinkled or damaged in any way, unlike most dollar bills. It was in absolutely pristine condition, as if it had just been made. I took the disk and the dollar over to my friend's house, the one that has the laptop that I'm typing these words on. I explained how both my computers were destroyed, and he agreed to let me borrow it whenever I needed to, So I got on the laptop and put the CD in. On the CD was just one file. $1.wav.
Post 2. On August 26, 2011, John Goodman made another blog post regarding his continuing research of $1.wav.
Hey everyone, it's me again. So, you all remember that $1.wav crap I posted about a week or so ago, right? Well, like I said I would, I did some research on it. Now, simply searching $1.wav on Google yielded no results. But I asked on a message board about the file, and nobody seemed to have heard of it before. That is, until I got a reply from some guy saying he knew of the file and the bad times he had with it. It went as follows.
Oh, don't even remind me. $1.wav. It's amazing how much trouble a 4-minute sound clip of heavily distorted music can cause. It was 2 years ago. Some person on Craigslist was selling a computer with Windows XP already installed on it. At the time, Vista was still in beta, and 7 didn't even exist yet. I went to her house in Cleveland to pick up the computer. I brought it home and turned it on. I noticed a WAV file in the Windows Media folder, entitled 1$.wav. Curious, I opened it and listened to it. It was nothing special. Perhaps a little creepy, but it didn't interest me. I closed it and went to the bathroom. I came back to the computer and I could not believe what I saw. Everything was changed to dollars or some crap, and a bunch of error messages titled 1$.wav. I tried to use my antivirus to fix what I instantly took as a virus, but it wouldn't open. I tried turning off the computer, but it wouldn't turn off, no matter what. The only thing that worked was unplugging it. I tried to boot in safe mode and use my antivirus there, but upon trying to open it, my computer made this bizarre noise and shut off. And it refused to turn back on. I don't mean refuse to boot into the OS, I mean literally just would not power on, as if it wasn't plugged in. The next day my computer was gone with just a single dollar bill in its place. I know it sounds insane, and you probably won't believe me unless you had a similar experience with the file yourself.
Cleveland. eBay told me that the item location was in Cleveland, Ohio. I now had a new mission, track down the person who sold me that damn disc. I replied to him saying that I had indeed had a very similar experience, and requested that he send me the exact address of the woman that sold him the computer, as I wanted to have a little talk with her. I probably sounded like a stalker, but at this point, I didn't really give a crap. I needed to figure this out. Surprisingly, the user actually sent me the address of the woman private message. Living in Ohio myself, Cleveland wasn't too far away, so me and my dog Coco got in the car and drove off. We arrived at a small yellow house that I could only assume to be the home of the woman who sold me the install disc. We walked up to the front door and rang the doorbell. A woman almost immediately answered the door. She seemed to be elderly, of short stature, kinda stout, and she had hair tied into a bun. And then I looked into those eyes. Oh God! They seeped through me and into my soul, hungrily examining it, seeing if it was suitable to feast upon. I almost wanted to sprint back to my car and drive off then and there, but I couldn't. I had a mystery to solve.
"Why, hello, John Goodman,"
said the woman in a menacing voice that sent shivers down my spine. My first thought, oh dear, she knows my name. Oh God, please help me. It took all of my courage to finally sputter out, "Look, I don't have time for fooling around. What is $1.wav, and why did you put it on my Windows XP install disk?"
"Oh, I can't tell you that,"
said the woman, whom I was now certain was no good. "Why not?" I countered angrily.
"Because. However, I can tell you this. Be wary in the days that follow, for $1 will haunt until all is hollow.
And before I could say another word, the woman slammed the door on me, cackling wickedly. I had no other choice but to walk back to my car. Along the way, a man came by and asked,
"What were you doing over there?"
"I was talking to the woman that lives in that house," I replied. The man's expression became concerned.
"Nobody has lived in that house for 10 years.
I looked behind me, but instead of the bright, cheery house that I had seen when I arrived there was a crumbling, abandoned foundation with a wooden plank nailed to the front door saying "Condemned" in big red letters. "But I was just talking to an elderly woman that lived there a minute ago," I argued. All the color drained from the man's face.
"Elderly woman?"
"Yes," I said. "You know, with her hair all tied up in a bun and whatnot."
"The last person who lived there was an elderly woman, always having her hair tied up in a bun. But she's dead."
On August 29th, Goodman updated the blog again with yet another report about his research on the ominous $1.wav. Post 3.
It's official. That old hag is stalking me. Since my last post, I've been catching glimpses of her out of the corner of my eye, always with that soul-devouring stare and her demented, rotting smile. She always vanishes as soon as I focus on her, and it always has to be at night when it happens. Each time, I get the heck out of there and hide under a blanket for the rest of the night. When I dare enter my computer room again, there's a dollar bill where the woman was. I've actually collected all the dollar bills she's left for me, beginning with the one that came with the last evidence disc, into one wallet. I've gone 3 days straight without sleep because of this crap. In the most recent incident, she was even holding a bloody knife. That was enough encouragement for me. I packed up a few things, and me and my dog piled into the car and went to my friend's house. I told him everything that had happened. I'd kept it secret because I figured if I told him, he'd think I was insane, but at this point, I really had no other option. The old hag seems to want to kill me for some reason. I expected him to say I was crazy and call a mental institution, but somehow, he actually believed me. I guess he knew I wouldn't make shit like this up, so I'm gonna be staying at his place until the situation blows by.
Post 4. Posted August 30th, 2011.
Tonight my friend glanced out the window, and I saw all the color drain from his face. I looked out the window and saw it too. It was that blasted old hag. She stared into the room from the outside with that soul-devouring stare and that same demented smile, and then she disappeared. We didn't need any more encouragement. We pulled down those blinds and nailed boards to every window in the house, as well as the front and back doors. I don't think we'll be going outside for a while.
Post 5. Posted August 31st, 2011.
I went on my friend's laptop and checked the forum thread I had posted asking about 1Dollar.wav. Somebody replied there under the username $1. Guess what their profile picture was? That damn old hag's face, with her trademark stare and demented grin. Her reply said simply, "Oh, more evidence. Guess I'll have to destroy it." Ugh. I clicked the reply button to respond, but it told me the thread never existed. Furthermore, when I searched for the username $1, it said no such user ever existed. Most messed up of all is her join date had been 1928. That was 9 freaking decades ago. The internet didn't even exist back then.
Post 6. Posted September 1st, 2011.
While I was on my friend's laptop today, a dialog box suddenly appeared, prompting me to download 1Dollar.exe. Knowing this could only be more of you-know-who's haunting, I cancelled the download, but guess what? It downloaded anyways. Ain't that just nifty? As soon as it finished downloading, it opened itself up. I prepared for the worst, another computer-destroying virus. It opened. It was... a game. A game. Of all the things 1Dollar.exe could have been, it was just some PC game. It showed a generic menu screen with the buttons play, exit, and options. The background was, of course, a picture of a dollar bill. I clicked options, just went to some graphic settings and such. I went back and clicked play, again preparing myself for the worst. It gave an instruction screen on how to play. Basically, the concept was that you were a bank robber, and in each level you had to go through obstacles to get to the bank and rob it. In each bank you'd have to fight a boss, and if you beat the boss, you'd get the money. So, I played the game, with my friend and dog Coco watching anxiously. It was your generic platform game, and I played through it actually quite easily. I beat 3 levels, and then the 4th was the final one before I got to the first bank. I beat that level, fought the boss. The boss was some kind of banker with superpowers or something. It was a World 1 boss, so he was ridiculously easy to beat. I beat him by shooting him in the head with a pistol, and got the money. The game counted up my scores and so forth before taking me to the first level of World 2. I figured I had played enough, so I tried to exit the window, but clicking the X button only greeted me with the Windows error sound. It wanted me to keep playing, and judging by all the weird crap that had happened to me recently, the reasons for that couldn't be good. So I tried ending the application process with Task Manager, but the End Process button only gave me that same sound again. I tried shutting down, but the shutdown button gave me the same result. It was very similar to when 1Dollar.wav had first destroyed my old computer, because the laptop was running on a battery, and I had to take out the battery to shut it off. I put the battery back in, rebooted, and everything was normal again. I deleted 1Dollar.exe, but it didn't come back like 1Dollar.wav did. It stayed deleted.
Post 7. Posted September 4th, 2011.
More corner of the eye sightings of the old hag. In all of them, she's holding a bloody knife. Boarding up our windows and doors didn't seem to help. She still got into the house. Today we unboarded the front door to go get the Sunday paper. Even if we're hiding from a sadistic ghost woman who wants to kill us, we still gotta keep up on the news, right? It said that a banker had been found dead at a local bank with a bullet wound in his forehead. It showed a picture of the man, and to our horror, he looked exactly like the World 1 boss from 1Dollar.exe. The way in which I had defeated him had been a pistol to the head, and the paper said there was a bullet wound on the head. As I read the paper, I saw the old hag again out of the corner of my eye, holding a dead corpse under her arm that looked just like the banker. This time, I didn't focus on her, I focused on the paper, to see what would happen if I didn't make her disappear. If she tried to kill me or anything, I'd just look at her. She kept standing there with that soul-eating smile and demented stare. After a few moments, her smile began to fade and turn into a frown. As if she was disappointed that I didn't seem to notice her. I looked at Bill, and surprisingly, he had followed suit. Even Coco was pretending not to notice the hag. I turned back to the paper so I could continue seeing the hag out of the corner of my eye. It wasn't easy. I kept wanting to look, but I knew if I focused on her, she would disappear. I wanted to know what would happen if that didn't happen. Her disappointed expression then turned to a fierce and angry look. She raised her knife and lunged at me. In unison, me, Bill, and Coco all whirled around to face the ghost. She stopped abruptly just as she was about to reach us, then vanished. This raised yet another question. If she wants to kill us so badly, why didn't she just do it and get it over with instead of taunting us like this? Maybe she doesn't want to kill us. Maybe she just wants us to think she wants to kill us. Make us paranoid to the point of insanity, just for her own sadistic pleasure and amusement. Sure wouldn't surprise me.
Post 8. Posted September 5th, 2011.
I woke up this morning from the little sleep that I actually got. I opened my eyes, expecting to see the ceiling above me, but then I froze. Standing above me, looking down directly into my eyes, with her insane smile and soul-devouring stare, was the hag. For several moments there was silence. I said nothing, for I was too afraid. I didn't move. I didn't even breathe. My heart threatened to burst, it was pounding so hard. And then finally, the hag broke the silence.
Good morning, John,
she said menacingly. It took all of my courage to respond. Just tell me what you want, and I'll give it to you. Just leave me alone, I replied.
It's just so sad that one, you have to live under a curse, the curse of my own creation, forced to pass on the curse to others, the curse of $1 of greed. I've never asked for this, but after having it shoved down my throat so much, I've come to enjoy it. I'm not sure if it's my sanity that's been pushed by this or what, but it comforts me to know others are feeling the same pain as me.
Enough of your cryptic crap! I yelled. And then suddenly, Coco jumped out of nowhere and tackled the hag to the ground, growling furiously. The hag just smiled.
Go ahead, do it. Rip me to bloody shreds. I might just be the only hope of destroying this horrid curse once and for all. Your suffering will be gone, and everyone who's ever fallen victim to greed, to villainy.
Before another word could be said, Coco began tearing the woman to bloody shreds. I never knew my dog could be so violent, but I didn't care. If it meant the end of this terror that loomed over us, it was worth it. Me and Bill, who had both been woken up by the commotion, could only watch as the hag was torn apart. She didn't even scream. In fact, she smiled, as if saying, "Thank God it's finally over." And then it was done. Her body was mangled and ripped so badly that you couldn't even recognize her. Blood was splattered everywhere. Then the body, or the pieces of it anyway, began to shimmer and fade away. Eventually they were gone. No trace of them remained, as if nothing had happened. Then we noticed a note laying on the floor, where the hag had been. Bill picked it up and read it aloud. "Destroy the dollars, destroy the disc. Do it before the remnants of the curse that lie within them enslave you as they enslaved me." I instantly knew what to do. I found the wallet I used to keep all the dollars the hag had left me, and I lit a match to it. A blood-curdling scream of pain sounded from it and almost made me jump out of my skin. I threw it outside and burned it until nothing was left but ash and dust. Then I found the disc containing 1Dollar.wav. I threw it to the ground and stomped on it. Another blood-curdling scream, and the disc spontaneously burst into flames. Now that's what I call burning a CD-ROM. It burned until it was nothing but a bunch of melted plastic. I had to use a shovel to scrape it off the ground and chuck it outside. For the rest of the day, nothing else happened. The hag never came back. I think at long last this nightmare might be over, but I won't make assumptions too quickly. I'll wait a while to see if anything else comes up. If nothing else does, I guess it's safe to assume the haunting of 1Dollar.wav has ended.
Post 9. Posted November 12th, 2011.
Well, I think I've waited long enough without anything happening that I can safely assume this is all over. Me and Coco have moved back into our own house and things seem to be returning to normal. And after some thinking, I've come up with a hypothesis as to what all this crap was about. I think the hag was forced by a curse to do those terrible things. The curse was like a virus using her to spread to others. I guess 1Dollar.wav and all associated things are all duplicates of this virus. I can only assume its proper name is greed, since that's what the hag kept referring to it as. How greed came to be or what its purpose is, I can only wonder. But the hag seemed to hint that it was she who created it, and it was a screw-up she had made that caused all this. I guess those dollars, the disc, and the hag were the last remnants of greed, and by destroying them, I destroyed it forever. She was so anxious to get her hands on evidence and destroy it because she wanted to destroy the curse of greed. I don't know whether any of these guesses are even remotely correct, but truth be told, I don't really care. As long as this nightmare is over, I'm content with not knowing. And I'm pretty damn sure it's finally over.